We continue now the top of Daf Vavam and Beis Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf 6b. The Gemara here is continuing a statement of Rabbi Yehuda addressing the issue of whether you can make an Eruv in Rishus Harabim. So he said, furthermore, let's say a person has two houses on both sides of a Rishus Harabim. Osa lechi mikan v'lechi mikan. He can make a lechi on each side. O kora mikan v'kora mikan, or make a kora on each side. V'nosein be'emsa, and he can carry in the middle of this Rishus Harabim. And Rashi here, continuing from the last it says, Hoel v'ika shtei mechitzos me'al yasa. Since in this case, this was the furthermore case. Since in this case where you have two real walls on each side, mechitzos habayis mikan, or mechitzos bayis hasheni mikan, you have a wall from one house on one side of the street, you have a wall from the other house on the other side of the street. Sagi b'takanta pursa. Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is you can do very little in order to carry in this Rishus Harabim. You can use a lechi, two lechis, two koras, all would be fine. Rashi says lechi mikan etzel pas habayis echad, v'lechi mikan etzel pas hasheni l'oso bayis atzmo. Put a lechi on one side of one of the houses and on the other side of that same house. V'havestimu l'shnei roshe Rishus Harabim. That'll be like an entry point. That'll be as though you have a wall on each entrance into the Rishus Harabim. Umuter l'taltel mibayis lebayis. You can now carry from one house to the other. Now that was Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, but the reason why we're bringing this brisa is because of the response of the Chachamim. Amru lo, they said back to him, they said back to Rabbi Yehuda, Ein ma'arvin Rishus Harabim bekach. You're not allowed to make a Rishus Harabim in this fashion. Now the issue is, before we just said that you're allowed to make an Eruv in Rishus Harabim if you have a lechi and a korah on one side and a door on the other side. That was the opinion of Beis Hillel before, and so we're asking here, the Rabbanan seem to be strict about making an Eruv in Rishus Harabim. The Gemara says maybe you'll try to say a simple answer. Now you might answer very simply, the Chachamim are only responding to Rabbi Yehuda. They're saying your method of making an Eruv in Rishus Harabim you can't do. But if you did it with doors, in other words, they would admit to what our brisa said. The brisa which brought Beis Hillel, which said you can use a door in order to make an Eruv in Rishus Harabim, that might be okay. The issue just was they didn't like the way Rabbi Yehuda was doing. They weren't saying you can never make an Eruv in Rishus Harabim, but that's not true either. Because Rava bar bar Chana says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Yerushalayim, when it comes to Yerushalayim, Ilmole dal sosen inolos balayla, if not for the fact that its doors were closed at night, Chayovin olem mishum Rishus Harabim, it would be a problem of Rishus Harabim. Rashi says, Yerushalayim, Rishus Harabim, Shalom mechuvin mishar l'shar. Again, you have this Rishus Harabim, the street that goes from one gate to the other, mefulish, and it's open, v'yesh bo drisas shishim rivo, and you have 600,000 people, v'rochav at sheishes re'ama, and it's a width of 16 amos. It has all the qualifications of Rishus Harabim. And if not for the fact that they closed its doors every night, it would be a problem on Shabbos of Rishus Harabim. But because they closed the doors, it's considered like a chutzner of the Rabbim. Ma'arvin is cool, you can make an Eruv. And if you don't make the Eruv, it's a Carmelis. There's no problem, again, because of the fact that you have these doors. Carmelisi. We say this in the last parak as well, that Yerushalayim is a Carmelis. So you see that in general, and we'll go on to see the question, but you see in general, doors don't work except in this particular case of Yerushalayim where you have doors closed on both sides. And furthermore, the Gemara says, V'yomar Ula, Ula says similarly, Hani avuli de mechuza, you have these gates in mechuza, ilmale, dal sosein ninalos, if not for the fact that the doors were closed, chayavin olem, yishum Rishus Harabim. You'd be chayiv for Rishus Harabim in that case as well. Rashi says, avuli de mechuza, shari ha'ir mechuvanim zeken egedzev, hayibosh shimribo. Again, you have the gates corresponding one opposite the other, you have the 600,000 people, chayavin oleh, almoni ilas de losas bi'inan b'chol laila. You see that you need to close the doors all night in order to be able to make an Eruv in Rishus Harabim. V'hacha katani osadelis mikan v'lechi v'kor mikan leBeis Hillel. And here, Beis Hillel clearly was much more lenient. They allow you to make a door on one side, a lechi, a kor on the other side, and that is sufficient. So that's the question against the position that we had in the brisa on the previous Amud of Beis Hillel. And so the Gemara answers, Amar Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda says, Hachi Kamar, here's really how you read the brisa. This is the beginning of that brisa with Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai talking about using doors to make an Eruv in Rishus Harabim. The beginning of that brisa should read, Ketzad ma'arvin mevos hamefuloshin. How do you make an Eruv by alleyways that are open l'Rishus Harabim? They're open to Rishus Harabim. We're not talking about an actual Rishus Harabim. We're just talking about mevos that are open, alleyways that are open to Rishus Harabim. And the brisa again says, Osatzuras habesach mikan. You make the frame of a doorway on one side, v'lechi v'kor mikan. You put a lechi and a korah on the other side. And again, that was the position of the first Tana in the brisa. The brisa then goes on to quote Chananya, who has a machlokas Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, and they say that you have to use doors in some manner. Gemara now Gemara says, Itmar, it was learned in Machlokas Amoraim, Rav Amar Hilchas Tanakama. Rav says the halacha is like the Tanakama. That's this Tana we just said before, that you can use a Tzuras HaPesach and a Lechi and a Korah. Shmuel Amar halacha kechananya. But Shmuel says the halacha is like Chananya. And of course, again, we're going to see in a second, but Chananya had a Machlokas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. So the halacha obviously is like Chananya according to Beis Hillel, because we paskin like Beis Hillel over Beis Shammai. So in any case, you have a Machlokas here, Rav and Shmuel, whether we require doors in this particular case of an alleyway that opens into Rosh Hashanah. So the Gemara now asks, they ask the following question, Lechananya aliba de Beis Hillel. According to Chananya's position, according to Beis Hillel, tzarech linol o ein tzarech linol. Do you need to close these doors, or can you leave the doors open? Rashi says, tzarech linol oso delas yachid. This one door that Beis Hillel requires in this case, do you need to close that door, or is it okay to keep that door open? So the Gemara says, Tashma, come in here, bring a following proof. Da'amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Eino tzarech linol. You do not need to close the door. V'chein Amar Rav Masna Amar Shmuel. Similarly, Rav Masna says in the name of Shmuel, Eino tzarech linol. You do not need to close the door. Ika di'amri. There are those who have a different version. Amar Rav Masna. Rav Masna says as follows: B'didi hava uvda. There was a case that I actually had of this. V'amar li Shmuel. And Shmuel said to me, Ein tzarech linol. You do not need to close the doors. Bo'mi name Ravanan. They asked from Ravanan the following question: Tzarech linol o ein tzarech linol. Again, do you need to close the doors or not? Amar lahu. He said, Tachazi hani avuli dinahardoi. Go check out the entryways of these open mevoos, these open alleyways into Rosh Hashanah. Look at them. The timen ad palgayo ba'afra. There, half of them is filled up with dirt. The dirt is piled up halfway up the doors. You wouldn't even be able to close them. So clearly you don't need to close them. V'ayil v'nafik mar Shmuel, and Shmuel goes in and out of them. V'lo amar lu v'lo midi. He says nothing. It seems to be totally fine. Seems to be that you don't need to close. You do not need to lock these doors. Amar Rav Kahana says that's not a good proof. Hanoch megufos havoy, because in that particular case, they're not. Rashi explains megufos hayu lo hayu kulam psuchos. They weren't completely wide open. Elaskuros upsuchos b'mixas. They were a little bit closed, a little bit open. So in such a situation, maybe that would be different. That's not a proof that you can have the doors completely open. The Gemara continues these stories of the mavos and the hardoi. Ki yasser Rav Nachman, when Rav Nachman came, Amar, he said, Panu alafrayu. You have to clear this dirt out of these doors. Get the dirt out of the way. So the Gemara says, Leima kasavar Rav Nachman tzarech linol. Does this mean to suggest that Rav Nachman holds the doors do need to be closed? Gemara says, no, not necessarily. Kaven du reuyos linol, as long as it's fitting to be closed, as long as it's closable, afal pi she'ein nolos. You don't have to actually close them. We still have no proof to our question one way or the other. Gemara now continues with a story. Ahum mavoi akum dehave ben Nahardoi. There was a curved, a bent mavoi in Nahardoi. Rashi says, mavoi akum shnei psachav mefulashim Rosh Hashanah. Both of its entrances opened up into Rosh Hashanah, achas into the same Rosh Hashanah. Can go in the following formation. So here you have one entry. Then when you go through, it curves, and then it comes through, and here's the other entry point. So both of them are entering into the same Rosh Hashanah. Rami oleh chumrei de Rav v'chumrei de Shmuel. The Gemara says that in this case they decided to treat it with the strictures of Rav and the strictures of Shmuel, and by putting together the chumras, they required that there were doors in both areas where it bent, meaning over here and over here, they were strict, and they required doors. Well, how is this applying the chumras of both Rav and Shmuel? Gemara says, chumrei de Rav, it applies the strictures of Rav, de Amar Toraso Kamefulash. Rav was the one that said on the previous Amud that when you have curves like this, it's considered a mefulish mavui. It's considered a mavui that's open on both sides. So the Gemara says, V'yamar Rav halacha k'Tanakama. But didn't Rav say just before that the halacha is like the Tanakama? Rashi says, "To lo boy delas el tzuras haPesach." He said that if you have a mevoos that open into Rosh Hashanah, you don't need a door; you just need a tzuras haPesach. So that's why the Gemara says you have to have both strictures. Gemara says, "K'Shmuel damar halacha k'Chananya." Yeah, for that issue, we hold like Shmuel that the halacha is like Chananya. So if we hold like that, you have to have a door, as Beis Hillel said. Gemara says, "V'amar Shmuel to Rasu Kesasim." But again, on the previous Amud, Shmuel is the one who said that this is considered a closed mavoi, not an open mavoi, if it's bent in this fashion. Gemara says for that issue, Karav damar Taraso Mefulish. Yeah, for that they were strict, and they said like Rav that you have to treat it like a mefulish, like an open mavoi. Gemara says, do we really follow two chumras? Are we really so strict like that? V'atanya, but we learned in a brisa, liolam halacha kebeis Hillel, that really the halacha is like Beis Hillel. V'arotz alasos kedivrei Beis Shammai osa. A person wants to follow Beis Shammai, they could. Kedivrei Beis Hillel osa. A person wants to follow Beis Hillel, they could. However, mikule Beis Shammai, mikule Beis Hillel. Let's say somebody wants to follow all the leniencies of Beis Shammai and all the leniencies of Beis Hillel, Russia. Such a person is wicked. And mechumre Beis Shammai or mechumre Beis Hillel. If somebody wants to follow all the strictures of Beis Shammai and all the strictures of Beis Hillel, want to be strict in all cases, all of Hakasav Omer, about such a person, the Torah says, Haksil b'choshech olech, the fool walks in darkness. So that seems to be a foolish thing to do. So why are we being strict like both Rav and Shmuel? We should pick one way or the other. And the Gemara says either go like Beis Shammai all the time with their leniencies and when they're strict, or go like Beis Hillel in all their leniencies and when they're strict. So the Gemara now just analyzes this statement itself, this Bryce Hagufa Kasha. This Bryce itself is difficult. First you start at the Bryce, you say the halacha is always like Beis Hillel. Then you say that if you want to go like Beis Shammai, you could do like Beis Shammai. We thought the halacha is like Beis Hillel. Gemara says, lo kasha, that's not difficult. Kan kodem baskol, kan la'achar baskol. In one case, we're talking before the baskol came out, there was a baskol that came out and said the halacha is like Beis Hillel. So before that baskol came out, you could go like Beis Shammai if you wanted. Once the baskol came, so then you have to go like Beis Hillel. V'bay same, another answer we can give for this question, hava la'achar baskol. Both statements were made after the baskol came out like Beis Hillel, and we'll see the continuation of this discussion in the next video on Daf Zayin Amud Aleph.